Don't you wish you could try out what retirement is like before you turn in your resignation letter? That's exactly what the series has been about. We want to give you the opportunity to test drive retirement without the risk of letting go of your career, only to find out that you actually still needed the paycheck. We call these 5 test drives the financial or the budget test drive, the identity test drive, which has to do with who you become when you are no longer bound with your job description. The third test has to do with our location or our dream paradise in retirement. Does that actually match reality and our needs? Number 4, we talked about that last week, which is the activity test drive. How do you fill your days and give it meaning in retirement? Today, we'll talk about something that really matters to me. It's the connection test. How do you maintain the social connections and the family connections that are so important to me? I want my clients to understand that this takes work. This takes actual thought and planning to make sure that you don't drift from the people that you care about once you do retire, especially if you are not retiring at the same time as your friends or maybe even a spouse. The final test drive is what I call the connection test drive. It's about nurturing the bonds that you have in retirement. Retirement isn't just a financial journey. It's a deeply personal one. While we often focus on finances, location, activities, and so on, we can't overlook that we need human connection, right? We can't be Carl Fredrickson, like the guy from Up. You guys, have you seen that movie? Human connections give life meaning. The connection test drive helps evaluate and strengthen these essential relationships as you transition into retirement. So here's what you need to do. Step 1, audit your social circle. Make a list of people that you interact with regularly. As a side note, this wasn't written, but just think if these people are in your life by choice or it's just by circumstance. That's it. Just don't think much of that, but just quickly, just as you make that list. Now, reflect on how many of these interactions are tied to your workplace or your daily routine. Who among them will be part of your retirement life? Step 2, after you identify the people that will actually be there with you and for you, and you'll be there for them, deepen existing bonds, right? If it's family, allocate more quality time with close family members. Emphasize those relationships that you envision being pivotal in your retirement. Now, look at old friends, rekindle relationships with long lost friends. There's these people, right, in our lives that became part of our story. We shared memories and experiences with them. Ignite these bonds if you can. And oftentimes this will be actually more effortless than you think. Step 3 is cultivate new relationships. You can get this done through shared interests like joining clubs, workshops, or groups that align with your hobbies. It doesn't just enhance your skills in these particular areas, but it introduces you to potential friends. It's the same thing with your community, right? Like we've already talked about this as far as what activities you'll have, but engage more actively in your community. Attend events that support local causes or simply participate in neighborhood gatherings, right? Like there might be a cookout, a block party, as we call it. I'm not sure what you call those, but step 4 would be to reassess digital connections, right? We live in a modern world. I'm speaking to you via YouTube. I hope I'm making a connection here. But these digital connections and online interactions, like what you have in social media, have their place. However, you need to understand that it needs to maintain a healthy balance with offline and face-to-face interaction as well. If you find that majority of your social interactions now are digital, it's time to seek personal and face-to-face opportunities. Step 5, implement regular check-ins. Regular coffee, regular lunches, regular walks, or calls with close friends and family members. This rhythm helps nurture and deepen these relationships over time. Number 6 is ask and seek feedback. Engage in reflective conversations. If you have a spouse, this is already built in, right? Talk to them, ask them how they feel about your relationship. And again, this wasn't written on my notes anywhere, but this just came to mind as I'm talking about this. The best investment that you might need to make is actually a couples counseling session or 2. You need to make sure that if you and your partner, your husband and your wife, are both transitioning into retirement, your identities, your roles are evolving. And I've seen that cause a lot of friction. So if you can have a professional walk you through that, it's actually worthwhile. I can't measure the ROI on investment returns and percentage returns, but if it allows for a more fulfilling life, I honestly think that's a really great step because dynamics will change. At the end of this exploratory phase, you'll have a comprehensive understanding of your relationship and your need of it as you head into retirement. You'll recognize which relationships need more nurturing, where you're a little lacking and you need to put more time and more effort in, which ones are genuine and which ones actually enrich your life, and unfortunately, which ones you kind of, right? Our connections, these shared moments and mutual support systems form a heart of fulfilling retirement. As you pivot from work-centric experiences, it's essential to ensure that these human connections thrive. The connection test is structured to approach what steps you need to really look at in your retirement years, so you're surrounded by people that you actually want to be there as you celebrate these milestones. Fantastic. If you've watched to this point and you've watched all our previous videos, you've now gone through the 5 test drives that you can try to implement on your own without anybody's help. All of these are just thinking exercises, but you need to be cognizant and you need to be honest with yourself when you're going through the self-reflection and the ideas behind testing out what retirement is going to be like. If you need more help, you want to talk through your ideas of retirement, our values conversation is how we start any financial planning engagement, and the first meeting is always at our expense. Feel free to reach us. The consultation link is down below. We only take a few of these every month, so make sure that you book a time that works for both of us. If you found any value in this series at all, please do subscribe, leave us a like. It helps the channel grow, which then in turn helps other people that might not necessarily have access or may not be willing to pay for a financial plan yet. Appreciate you. Happy planning, happy retirement. Bye-bye. I guess you can ask me questions.